Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mike Orlando from Category 7. Definitely go check out our new debut album. You are going to definitely be cranking this thing all day long. Tell all your neighbors, tell all your family, tell all your friends. Just get out there and crank this thing up. It's out now on Metal Blade Records. We have a brand new video, Apple and Discord out. There's also in Stitches, Mousetrap, Exhausted. Go to YouTube, check it all out. Crank it up. Tell everybody, spread the Category 7 word. You're listening to John the Ninja Podcast. Crank it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? It's John the Ninja. I can't tell you how excited I am because through and through, I'm a guitarist, and the guy I got here, literally, I'm going to break my #1 rule and actually ask him for a lesson. You're never supposed to do that. You got to keep it professional, but not with him. The man I have here is a true lover of music, and Staten Island, shout out. It doesn't matter if it's rock, metal, blues, a female fronted band, an 80s pop band, an 80s pop reimagined metal version of a song. The man truly knows his music. His dad, who I must add was Mr. America and Mr. Universe, bought a guitar at 8. And for Christmas, he still has that very guitar in the studio. You're going to see him in right now, but he was inspired by the true greats, especially Les Paul. I did a book report on him. Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhodes, Jake Lee, Akira Takasaki, Yngwie Malmsteen, and he developed a very mesmerizing style that cannot be ignored. You got to see his video where he's playing the fretless guitar, or even his Randy Rhodes tribute solo during Mr. Crowley. The man has played with so many numerous bands and so many names, it's too numerous, but the quick ones I can shout out: Rudy Sarzo, Jamie Jameson, AJ Piero, Tim Ripper Owens, Mike Portnoy, Rich Ward Fozzy, and so much more. His bands include Men of Honor, Sonic Universe, Sonic Stomp, his baby, Adrenaline Mob, but we're here to talk about his latest project, something I'm excited for, Category 7, named after one of the most named after one of the most powerful hurricanes that has yet to happen, and God forbid it ever does. They just released their debut album with Metal Blade Records, and it's a mix of thrash and metal rock, and it's the technical noodles in the guitar playing. They got John Bush of Armored Saint, Phil DeMel of Machine Head, and he's also playing with Kerry King, Jack Gibson of Exodus, and my love for Jason Brittner because my man is an Overkill. But we go back to this man who has worked tirelessly, not only producing and mixing the album, but he also plays guitar on the album as well. We have Mike Orlando here with us, this multi-instrumentalist, producer, studio album creator, drag racer. He does so much, but at the end of the day, he always gives it back to the song. So here to promote their latest single, Apple of Discord, via Metal Blade, Mike Orlando. Good sir, how are you?
Man, thank you for that incredible intro. Holy crap. That was amazing. You're awesome, man. You know more than me about me.
Not even close to true, because I got some questions on you, but I have to ask first, sir, because being such a fan of your playing, being such a fan of the videos you have online of teaching people to tap and play and your approaches, I know you've spoken a lot of love for Les Paul. I wanted to know what you got from him the most. There's always these guitar players that either because we saw them first, we start our style and learning like them, or there's something that we learn from them that always sticks with us.
Yeah, Les Paul was the guy. That was it for me since I was, since I could remember music, honestly. So what I took from him was not only the incredible speed the man had, but it was clean as a whistle. Incredible. He could do anything, and it was just crystal clear, still with an attack. And he just had this passion. But what I took from him is like he didn't think about it. My feelings is he just played with fire from his heart, and he just did what he wanted to do on that guitar. There was no preconceived, I got to do this technique or this. He just went for it all the time. That's what I took from him, and I always wanted to be like Les Paul. I always wanted to be able to play fast, but I wanted it to be clean. And, it has stayed with me my entire life. He's still one of the greatest guitar players I've ever lived.
Nitpicking, because now I'm just being the fan making assumptions, but I always noticed his wrist movement when he played. And that was something I noticed when I was looking at you and Phil play for this album. But back to it, you are not just a great guitar player. You could play a little bit of everything, but the thing I really wanted to focus on that I thought was fascinating is your ability to produce and mix. I know having your own studio affords you that opportunity, but who was somebody that really was an influence, such as Les Paul and Randy and all of them? Who was really the person that sat you down and said, "Hey, you really gotta study this"?
You know, I was really young when I started in bands. So I was 13, 14 years old. By 14, I was in like a really high-tech studio where I lived, tracking with guys that were 4 years older than me. And the minute I got into that studio and I saw the faders, and I was like, oh my God, this is where it actually is made, where the music is made, everything we hear and we listen to every day. And I just fell completely in love with it, just as much as guitar. My love for engineering and mixing and the other side of the music is tremendous. I've been doing it since I was a young teenager. And then I joined a band that had their own recording studio. It was a band called Cities. They were actually on Metal Blade Records way back in the day, and they're this underground cult metal band. And the singer became my brother-in-law. Anyway, we had our own studio, so I sat there every day and just learned from my brother-in-law Ronnie Angel, who was the singer for Cities, and every day just taking in as much as I can, learn. You still learn. I still learn every day. It's a fascinating, incredible experience, the other side of music. So it's just as much, as my life as guitar is. I learned very early on, when the guitar track's done, take the hat off. You're not the guitar player anymore. You're the engineer, or you're the producer, or you're mixing. So I learned really early on, wear different hats. Don't take them with you, because tracking guitar has nothing to do with producing and mixing when you're working, and in the studio with people.
Your love for music is so great, and you don't discriminate. You go to different genres. You love the female-led bands,
Yeah,
and it made me wonder what your dad and mom's taste in music, because that's what sets the path for most of us. Sometimes we find it on our own, but being that your dad was such a bodybuilder, I'm like, what was mom doing?
my mom wasn't so much. She loves music. She loved the Bee Gees, which is one of my favorite bands on planet Earth.
Of course.
Um, but it was my dad. My dad played Les Paul and Mary Ford all day long. Mary Ford was Les's wife. Incredible voice, stacked harmonies. They would do these 6-part harmonies, which are incredible. And that's what pulled me into it. And it wasn't just Les Paul; it was Chet Atkins. They actually did an album together called Lester and Chester, or Chester and Lester, and it's mind blowing. So I grew up listening to these incredible guitar players, Django Reinhardt, Chet Atkins, Les Paul. You can't go wrong right there. My God, when you're a kid, it's like, okay, I got to figure out how to do this. And I did not stop until it was 20 hours a day playing sometimes.
Speaking of harmonies, we got to go to you and Phil, man. I marveled at the video you guys did on Exhausted, where you guys are playing literally the same tune.
Yeah,
Movement is totally different, but
100%.
that sound is spot on, and I love that. You've been able to work with some of the greatest minds in music of all time for our genre. And when it comes to you guys going together, you said it was easy, you said it was clear.
Yeah,
You said it was fun to go back and forth and trying to mix your styles with the harmonies. Could you elaborate
yeah,
more on that?
totally. I mean, we're so different players. You could see it the minute you see us playing, but that's just a visual thing. Because even my style just looks strange. Everyone goes, "What are you doing? What is this thing that your hands shaking?" Instead, I'm like, I'm muting. I'm doing fast mutings and stuff, and it's just the only way I know how to do it. So yeah, my playing looks strange, but who cares? Um, but playing with Phil, totally different styles, man. He's the bar guy, so I don't play with a bar right there. He's doing all the crazy dive bombs, and I think it's a mousetrap. He's pulls up the bar, goes down, reaches over, hits the kill switch, does all this crazy shit, and we just have such different styles, but they meld together perfectly, and That's the key. And that was not something like, you know, we didn't try to do it. If it didn't work, it wouldn't work. You know what I mean? But it worked, thank God. And we just gelled, man. Um, he'll write a riff, I'll take it home, and I'll build it into a whole song.
Is there any
That's all.
technique that you pretty much, I want to say rip, but you learned from him or vice versa? He said, you know what, how are you doing that?
Yeah. We just have our styles are very different. His picking hand is a lot different than mine. He's very controlled, not a lot of movement. I play with my arm. I throw everything into the kitchen sink, whatever I gotta do to get it done. Um, so we definitely have different styles, but yeah, it was so great. I've never had a guitar like a partner. I never had another guitar player to bounce off stuff and to do harmonies together and all this great shit that we're gonna do. And live we'll be, executing this all. On top of, again, we just meshed. Our styles just mesh. It's not preconceived. When you listen to Exhausted, we're going together in harmony, or if you listen to Etta Storman, and it's like a fucking boxing match. Excuse my language, where we're going at it, and but it's in a musical way. I feel we're both respectful of Category 7 and the song, because for me, the song is king. Game over,
And
always.
And you were very vocal about how the band came together. It was you and Phil and said, guys, let's do this. You got Jason, but John Bush, a man who you have praised to no end, and he deserves that praise. Wonderful human being, wonderful lyricist, but his voice is such a generational voice. I rank him up there with the Dios, with the Mercuries, 80s, 90s, 2000s. He has his place. He cemented it.
Yeah,
When it comes to writing for him, you've stated you want to write for the person.
yeah,
What was that like? How did it differ from writing from everybody else, like Corey Glover and a couple of
yeah.
others?
You have to write for the singer. That's what I do. A songwriter. I need to see the forest through the trees. I need to see the bullseye and get an eye on the prize. With Adrenaline Mob, it was writing for Russell Allen. Russell Allen has one of the greatest voices on the planet. With Corey Glover, another one, iconic, legendary voice. Had to write for him. You have to. How could you not? And with John, the first song we did wasn't, it didn't make the album because we didn't know John was the singer. So it was like, wait a second. Once we got John in, it was simple. Uh, my writing style is what you hear, and the stuff that me and Phil put together and came together musically, it wasn't thought up, didn't take forever. It's just what we do. We're throwing riffs out, like we'll pick up the guitar and just go for it. Boom. Land I Used to Love. That Phil throws at that. I take it home and I make a whole song out of it. Because we just mesh, we're on the same page. That's when the magic happens. When it's not truly thought out and just when it's kind of natural. And with John, as you said, greatest vocalist for me, number one, in that genre. Incredible lyricist, incredible person. My favorite person to be creating music with since in my entire career. I will say that. He's and it was easy. So that's the beauty of it. We would hand John a song, he would send it back, and it would be Apple of Discord or In Stitches. We'd be like, holy crap. Okay. We wouldn't have a word to say. You don't, why tell John Bush what to do? We want him to paint our canvas. So it's a true collaboration. And I think it shows in the songs, man. I think this is a special album. And again, songs.
And of course, with your mentioning of what the song needs, big verses, big choruses, I felt that way about Land I Used. I felt that was the
Yeah.
song that really highlighted it for the band. But I have to be
Yeah.
selfish. Mousetrap was my favorite riff. That's coming
Yeah.
from. Who initially brought that idea in, and then how did it form? Was it again another just, hey, banged it out?
Some of the songs, like it depends. Like in Stitches, I had written in Stitches, and then I said to Phil, all right, we need something in the middle, and I would purposely leave something out because it's just like, come on, man, give me demo. Let me, demolition. Let's go. What does he do? He comes up with that insane middle part, which is just nuts. And that's what's great about it. So a song like Mousetrap, there was the same thing. It was a track that I had, and yeah, I sent it to Phil. Okay, man, what are you feeling here? And he would just paint some parts, and again, we meshed. It was so easy. He knew what to put to the parts. Um, that's the best part. Mousetrap definitely is one of my favorite songs. I will have to agree with you.
With this group, you said you don't like the label or you really don't worry about it, but the band's combination, everybody wants to use the word supergroup, and it's no question that everybody takes an element of their other bands and throws it into this one. While producing and mixing, how did you really try to approach it to make this as distinct as possible? Like, no, it's not anything else. This is category 7.
Great question. I wanted it to be in your face, punch you in the face, pull you in, be exciting, have a big sound, but in the same breath, I don't want it to sound like every other band out there. As a mixer, and an engineer, I don't like to, hear that song on the radio and I want to copy the mix, or why? I don't get that. I want to create something different. All music should be different. And I miss the days when everyone sounded different, because now it's like you'll get 20 bands and they all sound the same. They will produce the same. So I wanted it to be different and fresh and raw and hit you in the face. And it started with the pre-production, and then thankfully the guys were, hey man, Mike's the man for this, and that's an honor for me because these are legends I'm in a band with, and here I am producing, mixing, mastering, engineering, all this. It's an honor of a job to have, and if I didn't do it good enough, I wouldn't expect to have that position, So I take it very seriously, and I want to make my bandmates happy. First of all, that's first and foremost. The five of us have to be like, yes. And our fearless manager, Larry Mason. So we have that team, and I trust everybody in the team. So yeah, just, raw, not overly insanely produced, but hit you in the face, punch you, pull you right in. And, that's how I always envisioned Category 7.
And it's super vindicating too after years of working and to have your peers say, "Hey, you got this. We trust you." There's a sentence. I don't want to say pride, but it's a ego boost in the best of ways. Like I can do this for them. You know, I again
Yeah,
want to go back to that solo you did at the Randy Rhodes tribute.
yeah.
Mr. You took that song and you made that solo your own, and
Mm.
you kept the essence, you kept the beauty of it. Back to the idea of working with somebody that you looked up to. What was a moment in your career? You've had so many. You've worked with Rudy, you've worked with AJ, you've worked with all these people. I'm jealous of you, and it's something to be said where you have that moment maybe for the first time where you're with them, and again they trust you, and you're
Yeah.
living. I'll never forget how incredibly kind Rudy Sarzo was to me.
Oh my God, the
And
greatest.
to be backstage, to have been praised for my work as an interviewer, and for him to take such great care of me.
Yeah.
I've been very blessed. Shout out to Striper too, you guys. But the fans that have been so kind, he just had a warmth, and I
Oh,
felt gratified. What was a moment in your career where you had that same effect? But you have to be on stage playing. You have to be in the zone of guitar.
there's so many. I mean, I have been grateful and blessed, and I'm honored to play with the Mike Portnoys of the world, one of the greatest drummers on planet Earth, AJ, all these incredible people, um, Rory Glover, everyone that I've worked with, Rudy Sarzo. Me and Rudy did an album we still have that never came out together. Me, him, and AJ, and sadly, it was because AJ passed. God rest his soul. Um, but that there was one Randy Rhodes Remembered show. So I've done a lot of them. I must have done about 15, I think, because we would go on these small little tours and do West Coast run and an East Coast run. And every year I would do all the NAM ones. And I love Brian Tishy. He's a dear friend of mine. And, he runs that whole thing. But it was in 2018, I think, was very special for me because it was Mr. Crowley performance with Don Airy and Rudy Sarzo, and it was the first time I had ever been on stage since the Adrenaline Mob crash. So it was just to hold a guitar again and to be up there because I should not be here right now, hands down. Was you know it was incredible to see Rudy and to hear Kathy Rhodes introduce me and say such beautiful words. Randy's sister. It was just like, this isn't happening. Oh wait, now I got to play guitar and I got to do Mr. Crowley. So that was a surreal moment for me for so many reasons. But yeah, you bring up Rudy. Man, do I love that guy. Biggest heart, sweetest man.
And he goes
Awesome.
and he goes for it too. There, he doesn't let up.
God. Beast. A beast.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Yeah,
Remember,
uh, absolutely. Since a very young age, play with your heart. Don't follow trends. Don't follow or try and be a certain guitar player or sound like anyone. Just follow your heart, play with passion, play with fire, because that's going to always show if you truly have that passion and fire in you and you are playing from your heart and you're just giving it and bringing it, it shows. And that's just always what I wanted to do. It was, yeah, that's stuck with me my whole life. And I've always tried to just play from my heart. And it is it's a burning fire and passion in me. Sometimes I don't even think, I just lose myself when I'm playing, and I'll make the stupidest faces, do the stupidest moves, but who effing cares? You lose yourself in it, man. It's the best part of music.
wise words, and I'm so excited to have been able to share this time with Mike Orlando. Guys, Category 7 out
Yes.
now via Metal Blade Records. Go online. You could get the colored vinyl, you could get the CD, you could get the shirts. I got mine
Yes.
coming in the mail. I'm super excited, but I cannot extend enough how great this album is. And if you need somebody else other than me to tell you, James Hetfield will be on it, go to
Yeah.
Blabbermouth. Metal, everybody's on it. So go check out Category 7. Good sir, thank you so much for your time. I'm truly, truly grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And everybody else, you know what I'm going to say. Be smart, be mindful, rock on. As always, Ninja out.
Woo, baby, you listen to John the Ninja. All your ears are about to go on a vacation. John the Ninja's got what you need.